Hey guys, Fan 2 here with Archange Label. Today we're going to be showing you the basics of Warhammer 40k. In our first video we gave you a bit of background on the Orcs and the Space Marines. Today we're going to show you the vehicles. As you can see, we've got an assortment of vehicles here from the Space Marine Army. Now, these two here are the Land Raiders. These two Land Raiders are the toughest tanks basically in the game. With front armor 14, side armor 14, rear armor 14, which is the highest armor value you can get in the game. If you find higher, it's wrong. It's just wrong. It can't happen. Okay, so what I mean by armor value is that the strength of the weapon determines what you need on dices to penetrate to blow up the vehicle. So let's just say a Land Raider with las cannons, which is the second strongest weapon of the Space Marine arsenal, strength 9, wants to hit the front armor of a Land Raider. First we have to roll the Space Marine's ballistic skill of 3, which is got them both.
Just to point out that a ballistic skill is what a person needs to shoot at its enemy, like to determine if he's good or not at shooting.
Yeah, basically. In close combat, use your opponent and your weapon skill to determine what you need to hit.
A ballistic skill works is that whatever you have, you take away 7 by. Say I had a ballistic skill of 4 minus 7 is 3, which means I needed 3 up, which is what Space Marines have.
Yeah. So basically, that was the hit. So that means it hits the vehicle, but we determine if it does anything or does any damage. So this is strength 9, front armor 14, which means it needs a 6 to penetrate it, or 5 to glance it. A glance means that, okay, it hits the vehicle, it may glance the armor and destroy one of the weapons, or it may just, and penetrating means that it went right through the armor and blew up the fuel tanks or ammunition. So we're going to see what happens. Right, so we've got lucky. As you can see, we have a penetrating hit. Now basically there's a table of vehicles which goes from 1 to 6. On a 1 the vehicle can't move. On a 2 the vehicle can't shoot. On a 3 the vehicle is immobilized, or weapon destroyed, sorry, and which means you take off one of the weapons. On a 4 it is mobilized, can't move or shoot for a turn or the whole game depending on the weapon. And on a 5 or 6, on a 5 it's wrecked, can't do anything, it counts as destroyed. And on a 6 it explodes and it's taken off the table. So if it's wrecked, you basically just take all the weapons off it, put it upside down, but most time you don't want to do that, so we're going to find out what happens to this Land Raider. Alright, so we got lucky again, so it's a 5, which means it's wrecked. So basically you just take off all the weapons, if you want to, like you could just turn it on its side, and turn it upside down to make sure it's terrain. You can use this as cover for any models behind the model. So that's the Land Raiders, basically. And there's other weapons on the Land Raider. There's not just las cannons. There's a reason why they're the most powerful tank in the game. They also have heavy bolters, which are very powerful infantry killers. This one also has an autocannon, which is very powerful again, even more powerful than the heavy bolter. Hunter killer missile, multi-melta, storm bolter, basically everything you need in your arsenal. So from heavy support we're going to move to fast attack. So here we have a land speeder. Now as you can see the land speeder is on a flying base, representing that it does fly. Now land speeders, because they're fast attack, instead of moving 6 inches like normal models, they can move 12 inches because they have huge engines at the back and use gravitational technology to skim a planet's surface. So in its weaponry it has Typhoon missile launchers, multi-melta, assault cannon, and that's basically it. It has a teleport homer, which makes sure it can deep strike wherever it wants. Deep strike is basically if you don't start the game, you can put it in, and basically that's all that happens. So basically we're just going to use the multi-melta here as an example for one of the weapons. So multi-melta is slightly less powerful than a las cannon, but it does have a better AP than it. It has an AP 1, which means no armor can withstand it. Nothing. Not even Space Marine Terminators.
I'm just gonna explain what AP means. Armor piercing means that, say for example you have a gun that's so strong that it can just rip through armor or melt it away. It depends. If an AP of a gun is lower than a person's armor save, he doesn't get an armor save. It just melts right through his armor.
Or if it's equal.
Or if it's equal, yeah. Sorry. Alright, so now Stargate is going to show us.
Alright, so Multi-melta, the odds of me destroying a Land Raider is impossible because the strength of it is only 8 and I need 6s to even glance it, and as I already said, glancing, no actually I didn't say, glancing on the table configures a -2 to the damage table, which means if I got a 6 on the vehicle damage table, or say it was a 6, it would become immobilized, which is a result 4. So we're going to use the Rhino as our little subject here. The Rhino is a dedicated transport for Space Marines, very useful for cover and basically getting your Space Marines up to the front line in front of orcs. So multi-melta gets 2 shots because it's heavy 2. So we roll 3s, double 6s. Now the Rhino's front armor is 11, strength 8, so 3s are glancing, 4s are penetrating. We got 2 glancing. Now that's very unusual, but it did happen. And we got a 3 -2 and a 2 -2, which means that's nothing, and this means the Rhino can't move. So basically that's what the Land Speeder does. It's used to get as much heavy support up the field as quickly as possible to dodge heavy gunfire, shoot and mow down infantry, basically. And it can be used as an anti-tank killer with these, multi-melta, Typhoon missile launcher, or an assault cannon, which is infantry. So it's a good little fast attack vehicle, and amazing with assault marines if you have any. Assault marines are basically fast attack troops. So as I already said, the Rhino is a dedicated transport. Now a Rhino can carry 10 troops, a maximum capacity of 10 troops. You can put a weapon on it for an extra 10 points for a hunter killer missile, as we already said in the first video, points value. As you can see, the side of the Rhino has engines and 2 access doors, so troops can pile out of the vehicle from the back or the side of the vehicle. And this little vehicle, although it sounds very good, it's not really. It's only used really to carry troops. If you're planning on using it to destroy vehicles, you're wasting your time. The side armor is only 10, and the rear armor, no sorry, the side armor is only 11, and the rear armor is only 10. Which means basically, multi-melta or las cannon could rip through that armor, no problem. Like on a 2, it could blast through the armor and completely obliterate the Rhino. But luckily enough, it is fast. You can move it 12 inches and not worry about firing any weapons because you don't need to. It's a troop carrier, that's all it is. So, next we're going to move on to sort of another Rhino-based vehicle, but a lot powerful and a lot more stronger. Basically, we're going to show you what it does and the size of its weapon. This is Demolisher Cannon. Now I'm just going to use this as an example. So basically, Demolisher Cannon is the biggest cannon, is the most powerful weapon in the Space Marine arsenal.
Sorry.
And probably the most powerful weapon in the forces of the Imperium, as Tau have railguns, which are the same stats, different AP. This is strength 10 AP 1, 24-inch range. So, this is probably the only weapon that could probably destroy a Land Raider with ease. So we're going to try and destroy the Land Raider. Well, try. Well, first of all, you put a large dash template over it. And it has to scatter, but we don't have... Okay guys, I've got a large blast template. Sorry, I didn't put it beside me at the start of the video. This is the large blast template. Basically, it's huge. It can cover a vehicle. The bad thing about the Demolisher Cannon is it can't scatter, which means that it might miss. Now you might say, okay, a big huge cannon like that, how can it miss a big huge target like a Land Raider? Yeah, it's quite easy. The crew could get distracted, or the vehicle could get a glancing hit on the side of its armor and knock the vehicle and shake it, and the crew could get stunned. So this determines whether you hit your target. This symbol represents that you'd hit the target bang on. You've hit your target, no worries. These arrows represent where it'll scatter, how it'll scatter, and how far. So, we're going to see if it scatters, and if it does, or even if it doesn't, I'll explain how it works. Right, so I got it on target, which means if I put it over that, nothing happens. But say I got an arrow. Say I got an arrow. I'd have to roll, well, actually, a Demolisher Cannon scatters a full 2d6 because it's a huge weapon. But say it wasn't. Say it was a rocket launcher, it would scatter 8 minus 4, which is your ballistic weapon skill, which would mean it would scatter 4 inches this way. So
that's over. So
we're going to see if we can destroy this thing. Now, because it's our ordnance barrage, it gets 2 dices for each target it hits, and because it's only hitting 1, it only gets 2 dices. So we're going to see if we can destroy it. Now, we only don't have to roll the hit because we already rolled the scatter dice. So here we go. Okay, so basically that was an epic fail because it only got a 2 and a 1. But basically the idea is still there, guys. You can still destroy it. It's a very powerful weapon. But that's just an introduction to the weaponry and vehicles of the Space Marine and Force of Imperium. Not only do Space Marines use these vehicles, but the Imperial Guard can also use these vehicles, Blood Angels, Raven, Chaos Marines, and that's it. So, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye bye.